Hey Vidit, how's it going?
It's going good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help.
Sorry?
Happy to help.
Great. So tell me, man, how's everything in Ahmedabad lockdown scenes?
Um, Nothing special as it's been everywhere. Staying in the house, chilling, working out, doing some work, listening songs, playing PUBG, everyday life, watching shows and movies, nothing else.
Right. Great, great, great. So yeah, let's get started. So tell us how you got started with tennis.
Mhm.
Where did you start? Which academy? And
Um, so I was I was 5 when I started tennis. It was right after the 2001 earthquake that we've had.
right,
Um, my parents thought that my sister and I should do something, try to get our heads off from what was going on around because everywhere everything was just so negative. So
right,
we went to this Saint Xavier school in Ahmedabad. That time my cousin used to play tennis there, so I just went with him, played for a couple of days. I hated playing it, obviously,
mm-hmm.
because all I wanted to do was play cricket. But
uh,
um, somehow I started it. I stuck with it, which was the biggest thing for maybe a couple of years. And day by day, I just grew into it. I just enjoyed it. So
Amazing.
that's how basically I started it.
So how often did you play like during your when between your from the age of 5 to 10, 12? How often were you playing? Like were you like completely focused on tennis or how did it go?
I won't say I was focused on tennis or I wanted to make a career out of tennis,
Right.
but I was playing it every day. I used to have school in the afternoon, so I used to get done with school around 4:30, and then I used to go and play tennis. So that was basically how my day used to be like.
Right.
Go to school, go to tennis, come home, have dinner, sleep, um, repeat the same thing. But yeah, so the only time I've stopped till since then would be some injury breaks or
Mm-hmm.
just one break that I took, like get my mind off tennis. So that's
Right.
it.
Right. 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 So your juniors, how were your juniors? Like how when did you start traveling for tournaments? And did you just play local ones, or you kept traveling, to other states as well?
Um, the first state tournament I played was when it was an under 8 tournament. I remember the year, it was 2003. I'm not sure as to uh, what magnitude of tournament it was, but I'm pretty much sure it was big because it had kind more or less it had every player in the state from every age group playing in it.
Oh, wow.
Since um, it started from under 8 and it went on till men's and veterans. So it was like everyone playing in. Um, I did not start traveling to play to get into rankings or like focus on a national ranking till I was 13 or 14
Mm-hmm.
because a couple of things um, I used to get told at that time was it's not necessary to do it. You don't need to do it. You need to focus on other things. Um, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a tennis player. I mean, yeah, I just knew I want to play Wimbledon, but I didn't have a realistic goal. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if I if I can respond to that question from current logic, I would say me or my family didn't have a plan as to how to do it or what to do because we didn't have anyone to guide us.
Right. So, do you think like even youngsters these days, like even those who are starting off, like by the time they get to their juniors or their under 12, under 14, the 6, 7 years that they've spent should be planned in a better way, or should it just be that you start planning when you're 12 or 13?
Everyone has a different approach to it, but I feel like according to me and maybe someone, a lot of people who agree with me would be, focus should be like, if it's your primary focus, start it when you're around 12 or 13 only. Till then, enjoy the sport. You don't want an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, or a 10-year-old to be like, spending 8 to 10 hours on a court,
Mm-hmm.
because by the time he's 13 or she's 13 or 14, he's going to hate the sport, because all he or she has seen is just the bad parts of it. And
Right.
when you're putting in such high intensity energy and efforts at that small or young of an age, it's actually hard, because you're not going to get results that early, and if that happens, that's going to have a very negative impact on those kids growing up.
Right. So, one important, I mean, interesting question that I have is when you're in your development stage, right? So you're in your juniors. How do you balance it between, there are a lot of things where you want to win, you care about your rankings, but then sometimes you win at the cost of improving your game. If you're being able to understand what I'm trying to say, like probably hitting harder, hitting slower, and
Mhm.
getting the balls in play instead of trying to be more offensive and hitting the ball hard.
um, I don't think the see, now again, everyone has a different way of doing it. Sometimes when you start playing the tournaments at the starting stages, you actually don't know certain things. Like right now, people are getting knowledge, or what type of game style you have, or what kind of surface you prefer, or your game style suits that surface. Things like that. There are a lot of things. This coaches nowadays would tell you. Uh, at a certain stage, it does have an impact on your game. But when I used to play, or when I was at that stage, uh, everything, every time, we wanted, not just me, it's we, because everyone went in the court with the same thing, like we want to win, and we are kids, so we either we either win or we lose, and we start crying because
Right.
we don't know what else to do. And none of us ever, kind of crossed, shattered a ceiling to do something else. Like all I remember was when you're juniors, everyone's playing slow and lofty balls.
Right.
Whoever's hitting hard is not going to survive in under 14. But as soon as you hit 15, 16, uh, the thing around you changes. Everyone's getting taller, everyone's getting stronger. You can't play those slow, loopy balls anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think the sense of play starts coming into you when you start playing a lot more matches into it. And I won't say practice matches, I would say tournaments, because there is a different mechanism that you have when you go in and play a tournament.
Of course.
You're mentally more present in there. A lot of people actually feel nervous at the start. I used to have the same, this kind of, my body would start tingling before I used to go in a match. But this kind of things actually help me focus and play, play better. With times and with opponents, you start adjusting, and then that's how you start getting better.
Of course. Right. So, tell me about your national championship that you won.
Okay. That was in 2014.
Right.
Um, I was actually not planning to play under 18 because I only had 3 months left.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went in to play men's tournament. I also was in I started my second year of college. I was unsure about if I'll get an admission in a US college and I'll go there. Me and my parents were actually searching for, some career opportunities for myself to do it, because as long we knew that we couldn't afford to, let myself continue on a professional route.
Right.
So went in to play the men's tournament. Uh, I was playing my final round of qualies, and I traveled with my dad then. Back then, um, I lost a miserable match. It was a long one. I could have won it easily. I still remember it, but I was not in a proper sense of mind. I didn't convert certain balls that I had to, and I was not physically strong to do that. And I started cramping. I won't blame my cramps for the loss. I would blame myself. I could have converted it, but whatever. I lost that match. I was unhappy. We waited to get in the lucky loser. Considering my luck, I would never get. I
Mhm.
would ever get in. We didn't. Now I still wanted to play matches. I mean, I was there. So I requested my dad. I'm like, what's gonna happen if I'm not playing good? I'll lose in a couple of rounds. I will go
Right.
home. He's like, you're not in a proper shape. You just cramped, and I know my body. It's going to take me like at least 2 days to get myself fully functioning
Right.
without any kind of soreness left from the cramps. I'm
Right.
like, I'll take a look. If I'm not feeling well, at least do the ticket for tomorrow night so we can play the first round, lose, I can go home. He's like, okay, you're not playing doubles. I'm like, okay, we'll play singles. Started playing singles. It was someone from Maharashtra. I won't take the name.
Mhm.
I don't want to embarrass him, but he won the first set. He was winning pretty easy. He was also up 4-1 or so in the second set. I actually gave up. I'm like just 2 points away. Get the tickets and I'll go home. And then that guy started losing his cool because this is when you said, I started adjusting to it. I was just putting the balls in play because I couldn't hit. Otherwise, I would start cramping again.
Right.
I converted that match. I was in one round. My dad is like, you can stay if you want going home because I need to take care of business. I'm like, all right, you can go home. Day by day, I started getting better. I just went in, enjoyed my last ever juniors tournament I was ever going to play,
Mhm.
and turned out pretty well for me. So I just went in 100% every single day, 6 days in a row, six matches done.
Incredible. So you won the tournament being a lucky loser.
No, I didn't get in the men's. This was under 18.
Mhm.
I wasn't lucky loser. I was around 30, 35 in the national rankings back then, so I got in the main draw.
Right.
But
Oh,
on the way I did, but on the way I defeated four seeds, so
wow.
I was basically unseeded,
Mhm.
uh, underdog, but whatever. I didn't consider myself underdog. It, people
Right.
around me who considered me underdog. Yeah.
Right. 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 Incredible. So this was the Chennai Nationals or the Delhi Nationals? I don't remember.
Nah, Fenesta,
NS
Delhi. Yeah.
Delhi. Okay, great. Well done. Okay, so
Thanks.
I wanted to talk to you further about what you did after that. You spent a year in the men's circuit, I guess, a year or two.
I did play men's circuit, but it was around the time of that till December, 3 more months, and then I got an offer to go into college in January, and I took it and I went to US.
Yeah. Okay, so the US scene comes up. Tell us about your experience in America.
Honestly, I expected I would get into a better college, but somehow I was not because I didn't have a good juniors ranking. Highest I had was 480.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of factors going to that. I won't say I was a great player in juniors. I was just a decent player. My potential was untapped considering I play much better doubles than singles, and I didn't even try it till then. But yeah, I went to college in January after doing a year and a half of college in India. Uh, I did a year and a half at that college at Monmouth University, and then I transferred to University at Buffalo, from where I graduated. So it was a 3.5 years stint at a US college. Experience, I don't know. I would say it went both the ways. I had positive experience and I had a negative experience. Negative in the sense it's just negative, small part of it, but negative in the sense that I couldn't achieve any of the college course that I had set for myself.
Hmm.
Considering what I at least like the parameters that you set for yourself, I
Right.
was setting it like I'll do this the second year, I'll do this much the third year, I'll do this much the fourth year, but this was like I just stayed here all the 4 years. um, that was the only negative thing I had in my life. uh, I was suffering a lot mentally, the psychological side of sport, because I wasn't able to handle um, the losses in a proper way. I was just not there mentally. I started not enjoying the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I started to take some break as to I would request the coach to not make me play at least for a couple of weeks so I can get my head straight. Because college tennis is not like you going to play a match for yourself. You win or you lose, it doesn't matter. It counts a lot because you're playing for your teammates out there. You're playing for your college. So it's like you play the mini Davis Cup for you. Like the college is your country and you represent it. And I never felt that if I'm there, I should give my 100% or I should not do it at all because there's two more players apart from me who are ready to take a place in the lineup and play. So that was one of the negative things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I say negative, you'll also think, but I won two conference titles out of four in my seasons there. So we went to national tournaments twice. I was also ranked nationally. I was top 60 in doubles my last year, which now you see I set expectations for myself so high that I just couldn't catch up with it, or I just don't know what the reasons is. But over and all, I think I needed it to grow up as an individual.
Right.
I needed to spend some time alone. I needed to play on my own. I needed to start trusting myself. I needed this time when I could get out of comfort zone every single day.
Right.
Because I had to do everything myself. You're not just studying and playing. You're taking care of your house. You cook yourself. You arrange for the transportation yourself. We didn't have a car. None of my teammates had a car. So
Mm-hmm.
we used to jump fences, take the apartment buses, go to the college.
Right.
Kind of this thing. Um, on the way, I guess in these 4 years, I made amazing friends. I made amazing memories. Um, I call them idiots. We call each other idiots for each other. Somehow I don't know why, but these idiots are very close to my heart. And good thing is, none of them were Indians. Everyone was from different part of the country. One was from Malaysia, one was from Sweden, one from Czech, one from Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us were from different parts of countries, and it just helps when you interact with them.
Of course.
It just widens your perspective to life.
Perspective.
It's,
Right.
you just don't see it from one point of view, it's from everywhere. So
Yeah.
kind of these things helped me develop as a person, helped me mature as a person. I started taking care of myself. I could handle myself, like how Indian people are.
Right.
Sometimes you go alone and your parents are scared, like, what will you do?
Of
Like,
course.
you don't need to worry about that anymore because I'm not in that shell anymore.
Right.
So in every other way, even tennis wise, I feel like it did a good effect on me. I just didn't feel like it made that much impact on me. Just I could have gotten more out of it if I look back at it, because it had more facilities than what I had back in India when I was playing here. I could just go and play anytime I want. I could go and train. I could have done a lot more than I could have done. We have free access to physios whenever we want. So just prehab work whenever you want to do. You can just go and hop into a nice path whenever you want. So things like that. These are small things, but they matter a lot when you're trying to do something in a very good way. So overall, if I get another 4 years, I'll take it because I love playing college tennis, the format of college tennis. But yeah, so that's it.
Amazing. So, okay, Vidit, let's backtrack a bit. Um,
Mhm.
why don't you guide our users through a little bit of the scholarship process? So, at what rankings do you recommend people applying for scholarship? Or let me rephrase the question. Um, at what level does the athlete have to be to be able to be considered for a scholarship in the states for men's and women's?
Um, okay, so um, there's like different levels that you need to understand basically. So I'll kind of explain you to the whole system that they have there. Um, Honestly, everyone after 12th can go and play tennis if they want there. You just need to have a decent level. Like by decent, I'll try to define decent in a simple manner. If you're around 200, 300, either in juniors or men's, that is fine. Men's and women's, you have a decent level to go and play there. There are different criterias as to where you can go and play, because you will only be able to get into a college tennis team if you match their level of tennis.
Okay.
So, for example, if I'm going at XYZ college, I'm not going to get into the team if the coach over there doesn't seem like I'll be a nice match in the team.
Right.
Now, they have different ways of, judging a player. Currently, the most that they use is something called a universal tennis rating.
Okay. Is that the
It's
USTA?
highly in demand. No, it's not a USTA thing, but it came out from USA.
Okay.
Um, it's an independent rating system,
Okay.
and it's preferred everywhere over the world now.
Okay.
It started to slowly come into, you know, the eastern side of the world,
Mm-hmm.
but it's basically a rating system based on the your level of competitiveness. Now, I'm not a huge fan of it. It gives you, it sets a parameter as to what kind of player you are, but it has flaws. Everything has flaws, but uh, UTR is one of the things. Your ITF juniors, or if you're playing futures ATP with WTA, that your results help who you're playing against, who you're losing against, how much are you competing enough that works. Now, it also depends as to what a player wants to do when he goes there. Like his or her focus going to turn into academics when he or she goes there. What are his or her preferences? Like it depends from every player to player. If
Right.
I want to go there, my when I went there, I wanted to keep tennis as my main thing. But for example, if you go there, you might want to just use tennis, use it as a stepping stone, get into some academic side of it, now do something with your studies, and then do something else. So these are the different things that you do in order to be eligible for a scholarship. I think it's easier for women's as compared to men's, because in NCAA Division One, uh, every every girl who goes there is either on full scholarship or no scholarship,
Wow.
which is not the same for men's.
So 100% everything's taken care of.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes most of the time you just end up paying for your flight tickets from here to there, but
Right.
apart from that, not. I
Of
mean,
course.
sometimes you do get allowance for that, but you don't have to pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
Your tuition fees is taken care of, your food, your stay, everything's taken care of.
Amazing. So, Vidit, why don't you tell us a bit about the different divisions? Is what I'm interested in knowing is, like,
Hmm.
the Division One and the Division Two and Three. That I mean, for those who are listening, are the different what can you say, categories of colleges?
Um, it's yeah, it's kind of like they have separated the colleges into different things. Now I'll explain to you. The main is the NCAA.
Mm.
I won't say the main; it's like the biggest in
Okay.
terms of funding. So NCAA is in three divisions: one, two, and three. So NCAA Division One has 16 or more. So you need to have 16 or more sports in total to be a part of NCAA Division One college.
Okay.
So I would include tennis, swimming, football, basketball, baseball, everything.
Okay.
If it's 16 or more, you're part of a D1 college,
Okay.
and there is a limit as to how much funding you need.
Mm-hmm.
So athletic department needs to have a certain funding for them to be into Division One. Division Two is the same thing. It's just 15 or less sports in total.
Okay. So is that
And
the only because
in Division One and Division
right, and three, if you could, it's something similar where it's just about the sports offered by the college.
Yeah, um, so basically, one and two are the colleges that offer you athletic scholarships, but Division three doesn't offer you any sort of athletic scholarship. It's just if you get it in the basis of academics, you can get on in academic scholarship. You're not eligible for any athletic scholarship. That's what they. So basically, there is no funding for scholarships in Division three colleges.
Right. Okay. So the next question is, as a tennis player, if once he gets into a Division two,
Hmm.
let's say Division, shall we assume Division one is
Yeah.
the best universities for tennis, like in terms of the highest ranked players go to Division one? Is it something like that?
Um, s- yeah, I mean, see, if you're at a certain level, if like top 100 in ITF juniors, or you having, an ATP ranking of around 800, 900,000 or something, you are very much likely to get into a good Division One college on scholarship. But I would say the worst of Division One college, or like the median of Division One college, and the top most of Division college, like top five, top six, top 10, maybe. Tennis wise, they are on their equivalent. There's not much of a difference between them there.
Hmm. And so,
So if you compare top to top,
right,
maybe one ranks higher. Yeah.
of course. Okay. So, what do you recommend a player who isn't, that high ranked to take up?
Mhm.
Should he take up, a Division two, and then how do you pass through the ranks? Is there, like a possibility? So, suppose I'm ranked around 500 in the world, and I improve my game constantly, and then probably by the third year, I'm good enough to be, competing with someone who was in the top 100 who was ranked in the top 100. Is there like a path where he can directly move ahead, or is he just stuck in that college, or is there any, like a transfer option or anything of that sort?
Yeah. So consider the case where a player actually ends up going to a Division two college, and then after a year or two, he wants to transfer to a better Division one college. There's a chance that he can do that. All that player has to do is, just talk to the coach, get him a release. That's what they call it, and then he has a permission to talk to other coaches. Now he can choose a college that suits best for him, and then decide to like. So that's not much complicated once you go there. But there are certain things that makes you eligible uh, to go and play for Division One and Division Two.
Right.
So there's something called um, NCAA clearinghouse eligibility center that you need to cross. Um, they make you eligible to play. There's certain requirements that you need to have, certain criteria that you need to fulfill in order to be academic. And that's it.
Interesting. Okay, so there's like scholarships can be transferred as well, or I mean, you're saying it's like a properly well thought of system that once you get in, you just have to worry about getting better and better at your game, winning matches and winning for your team, and then there's no no blocks or anything. You can immediately get to the best college for tennis if you end up doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, uh, they have set the system in a very good way. Uh, I feel like um, it's been managed also pretty well. There are obviously there's some ups and downs in there, but if you set your sights on becoming better, I don't think you'll have any issue when it comes to transferring or making the most out of what you have. Um,
Any
yeah.
politics into the question?
Um,
There always
I
is.
haven't been to there always is, like, no matter what stage in life you are, there's always going to be some politics. I'm not trying to blame anyone here,
Right,
but there have always been instances in like the big college is what they call the powerhouse of
right.
uh,
The Ivy
the
Leagues, I
system
guess.
of college sports. Huh?
The Ivy Leagues.
Ivy League is not. I mean, Ivy Leagues are one of the biggest colleges when it comes to academically, but athletically, they're not
Oh, right.
that huge. There's something called
Right.
the the Power Five. The Power Fives are the five biggest conferences or leagues that we say. It includes around 50 colleges in total. And now these Power Fives are like the how can I say, like they are actually literally the powerhouses of making athletes and making money.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the rules or eligibility issues and criteria are influenced by what they want, what they need, and stuff like that.
Right.
So a lot of times the small colleges end up suffering, or it does affect them. But more or less, I think it's in good hands. Honestly, apart
Right.
from going pro, if you're not able to grow pro, just take the college route. If you want to do something good in tennis, at least you will able to learn a lot from there.
Right. So tell us about the one is tell us about the tennis facilities. You can elaborate a bit more about the tennis facilities and the studies part of it. Like when you get into a decent college, I'm assuming that your studies are also given equal importance from what I've heard as well.
Yeah. So first you need to have like a decent enough grade that's to get into a college. You need to have like a minimum to get in there, and every college has different according to their levels. Now once you get in, you need to maintain certain GPA or like a certain result to stay eligible for your scholarship. If you're not maintaining it, you have a chance that your scholarship will be revoked. So you're bound to do that. Now you cannot miss classes to go for practice to or any sort of other training. Or you can only miss the classes if you're going to play the matches for the college.
Wow.
Or there has to be some other emergency or reason to do that. Otherwise, you're not supposed to do that. It's not like uh, colleges in India. We took permission. We'll only go and give the exam. So it
Right,
doesn't
right,
work like
right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be there on both the fronts. So that's why it said like it makes you feel responsible to you know you have to manage the studies part as well, and you manage the tennis part as
Does
well.
that
And when I talk,
yeah, yeah, go on.
no, no,
Yeah. So, does that affect, your tennis performance when you're not being able to, commit your um, full time to tennis, or is it managed well?
that depends on the individual, honestly. um, I've seen guys who couldn't handle it. I've seen myself. I would handle it pretty well, because you need to take care of things right there and then. You have a limited time to do it. uh, I think athletes are pretty good at doing it,
Right.
especially Indian athletes are pretty well. At least
But
at the
more
starting of the
disciplined.
years, it doesn't affect them. Yeah, because we're good in studies. Thing. I
Mhm.
feel like the studies part over there is comparatively easier. I won't say it's very easy. It's
Right.
comparatively easier than India, because you don't need to spend that much time into it.
Mhm.
We have a system that the more you study, um, the better you are, which I am completely against. But it's just that if you're if you're smart enough to where you want to spend time, you can do it. Because I've known people who used to just go there, play tennis, party for 2 years, and then they're like, oh, we don't know what to do now. We've
Right.
completely messed up our GPA. We're not eligible for next year's scholarship, and then they end up going home, because all they've done over 2 years is just party and
Right.
things like that. So
Mhm. Tell us about the culture there. Like, there's going to be a huge cultural shock, as an Indian going to the US. So there's like a lot of parties and drinking and whatnot. Like, how do you,
mhm.
balance it out? I mean, obviously, you can't just isolate yourself. You'll be a laughing stock, I guess, over there if you do that. So, how do you, balance it?
Again, it's an individual choice, but yeah, there's a much of a cultural shock. The first time I went there, I'm like, whatever was going on, it just felt like it's coming straight out of a movie. The things around, this scenario around, it's something like a Hollywood movie going on for me. The first time I went to a party, it was like, oh, what's going on? Some sort of movie scene or what? But yeah, I mean, uh, come especially me, I'm coming from Gujarat, so there's no sort of bar culture or
Right.
drinking culture over here in general. So
Right.
I was not used to this when I went there, drinking so openly. Just people are free there, but it's more like you have to mind your own business kind of thing. Now, mm, I know there's a lot of parents who have concerns over their
Right.
kids getting, just going on the wrong side of the track because,
Right. Right.
we won't send our kids to USA, you start smoking, you start drinking. I'm like, trust your nurturing when it comes to that. If See, going to drinking is not a bad thing, but drinking in limit is something that you should have,
Yeah.
like it's going to happen. He's going to grow up one day.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to not listen to you. He's going to have his own identity. He's going to have to make his own choices. So you can't just throw him into a jail or something. But uh, no, like when a person or an individual in general is responsible for his own acts and whatever he commits to. So yes, there is a cultural shock. There can be distractions if you allow yourself to get distracted. Otherwise, I don't think there's any issue with it.
Right.
Be it alcohol or be it girls or boys or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So I had you did not elaborate more about the tennis part of it, like the
Yeah.
facilities there,
So when it
obviously way
comes
better
to
than India.
um, honestly, I think like the place that I was at was one of the worst places that they would consider, or at least they used to say like, oh, our place sucks in terms of facilities and what we had. It was much better than whatever I've seen everywhere I traveled to in India for any of the matches that I had. I haven't been to, Bangalore or so. Right now, we're opening up new tennis academies.
Right.
They have a lot of funding. I've heard that RBTA is an exceptional place to play tennis. It has
Right.
all the facilities. But before that, I haven't seen any place who was having all the things in together.
Right.
So
Probably
my place,
Harvest.
yeah, I haven't been to Harvest. So only the places that I've traveled, I
Right.
haven't seen. There might be, but or you can say like most of the places in India don't have
Of course.
what we need. Yeah. So when I went there, I mean, you see people complaining because they're used to more things in life. We need this, we need this, but uh, you can't be more happy because if you have at least six courts. You also have a place to play indoors because I went there. It used to be snow. It used to snow like for 4 or 5 months a year.
Wow.
So you have your indoor court, so you have that taken care of. You have a fitness trainer specifically for your team or for a couple of teams, but he or she focuses solely on your team when it's time. There are separate gyms for athletes and separate gyms for normal students, and I
Wow.
won't say just one because football team has their own gym because there are like 100 of players there.
Right.
Every team has 100 football players, every college. So they have a different team. They have their own different setting in the college. But apart from that, every other athlete has different gyms. When I was at Buffalo, we had three gyms for athletes.
Wow.
And they are complaining about, oh, we need more things. I'm like,
Right.
you don't know what this is. It's a blessing for me.
Right.
But yeah, so you have everything there. You have um, courts that are much better than yours. You have all these things available. You have a trainer, so a physical trainer is there for you, and I don't mean like a you have a physio who's there for you. uh, when I was at Buffalo, the school itself had like 12 or 13 physios, so almost every sport would have one physio for itself. So he would specifically, just there's like they'll check up your body and just prescribe you a schedule as to you need to do this, you need to do that for injury prevention and stuff. um, 3 days a week or 2 days a week, depends according to our schedule. We used to just get into hop into the ice bath, um, recover ourselves, do other things, tapes and everything, stuff like that. So these are things that that are needed, that are that are the base of a player in general. It doesn't matter if you're playing tennis, you're playing cricket, you're doing swimming, but it's the base in general that you need to have, which we don't have in our country.
Right.
I don't know of any single place in the whole state of Gujarat where I can go and do an ice bath. I can do is like get a bathtub in someone's house or just a big tub, put some ice, put some water, hop in there. So that's what I have to do.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we face certain difficulties, but when we go there, it's like we're given more than what we've ever seen. So it's always going to be a plus plus for us.
Right. And what about food?
So my first year when I was staying on campus in the hostel, I used to go and eat into the mess that we've had there. Now, when I say mess, people have a different vision of this typical Indian mess, steel plates, the guys banging in things
Right.
and just giving you. It's different actually. You kind of get every sort of meal, whatever you want. They have like different stations over there. You can actually eat as much as you want, kind of buffet thing there. There's a lot of options you have. You just eat non-veg, you just a vegetarian or a vegan, everything's been sorted. You don't need to think about anything else. Yeah, you're not going to get Indian food over there. No, it's just going for a buffet and expecting paneer tikka or chicken, butter chicken or
Right. Right.
naan
Right.
and biryani and shit. It's not going to happen. But yeah, it's you won't be sleeping hungry, honestly, because at the end of the day, you still have milk and cereal there. You have ice cream every day, you have frozen yogurt every day. There's sandwiches and everything. So at least you will have your nutrition taken care of. You also have people, you have nutritionists on campus for athletes who might, if you want to, they would help you, just plan a diet plan according to
Wonderful.
what you related to. Yeah, but afterwards when I moved into my teammates in a house, I used to cook my own food because I couldn't eat sandwiches for more than a certain time of my life.
Right.
I hate eating the bread in
Mm-hmm.
general, and I figured out if I'm going to stay healthy, I would do it my way.
Right.
I can stay healthy without eating pasta every day or bread every day or sandwiches every day. So I started making my own food, and turned out I like making my own food. So I kept doing it for another 2.5 years, and I'm pretty good at it now. So
Wonderful. And the difference in the coaching, like, is there a huge quality difference? Like, I mean, what we see through YouTube videos is they keep using different equipment for teaching different techniques. Your forehand, you probably have a ball machine and so many different things that can improve your technique. Do you see a huge difference in the quality of coaching in the US?
um so yeah, there are certain colleges there you feel like there is a huge gap, but I won't. Um, Basically, we have to say that a college, it's a college and not a tennis academy. So they're not going in to recruit the best of tennis
Right.
coaches.
Right.
They are sort of going to recruit the best of tennis managers that they are.
Okay.
So I use the term manager because it's very much like how football as a manager feel, managing the team, but he also is called coach sometimes. So
Right.
college tennis is more or less like that because players are going to come in, and you're not going to make any players. you know Everyone is going to come at the age of 17 and 18, so they are already um, kind of half ready when they come in.
Right.
You're not going to get any raw players. You're not
Right.
going to make an amateur learn tennis, so you have to manage them in such a way. I don't think there's a lot of work being taken care of technically at the age of 18, honestly.
Right.
And no one's going to mess with your forehand or backhand or saw,
Right.
more or less. If there's something missing that you don't know, or you don't know how to take care of it, like I used to have, like I was not confident on my volleys, I don't know how to play volleys, I didn't know how to place myself for volleys. um, I worked on that there because I my development was zero there. So I took it up from there. So basically I learned that you learn things, but I think most of the things that they do is tactically, you strategically, you learn a lot because you go every day, you're playing against teammates more or less they are of your level. So that's that's one of the big things that we as Indians appreciated, because we wherever we play, we're not used to having a bunch of players with us. Or
Right.
especially for me, it was like that before I went to USA, because I was playing alone. I didn't have anyone to practice with me. I used to play with 15-year-olds who couldn't
Mhm.
handle the pace, or I have to go somewhere else to play with them.
Right.
So these things, something like this has kind of helped me. But coaching wise, now, of course, it's going to differ from a
College.
college coach to another college coach. Yeah, it's like the mentality of a coach differs. Some are actually very vocal about things. And playing for college, I've seen that they teach you certain things, but at that point you don't realize how important they are or how much it can help you. But I figured it out after finishing, after graduating, when I started playing again. Couple of futures I played, the importance of positivity and showing energy on the court. It was something that we learned in college tennis. I was not taught that before in juniors career or by anyone else. You need to be upbeat, you need to be vocal, you need to be positive, because our thought process in college is, even though if you're losing a match, you have another players playing for your college, and you need to do as much you can to contribute in their win, even if you can't win. So
Right.
it can be anything. You can extend your match, or you can, just make them feel positive. So there's a thing in college tennis, you'll see every time they're shouting, like every college is a mascot, that's what they're called. And every couple of points they're shouting. I mean, there's always a lot of cheering going on inside the court by the players, not from the outside crowd, but by the players. Like, this is something that you learn there, and that kind of creates an energy inside of you, some sort of motivation, positivity, to get
Mhm.
yourself through the match or whatever it is.
Right.
um, and it has helped me a lot in a couple of matches even after graduating, because that kind of became my habit to do it,
Right.
and that has carried me towards through to a lot of different situations in my lifetime.
Very interesting. So, before we move on to the last segment, um, take us through like you mentioned, the cheering. Take us through the tournaments and the whole circuit. Like, how do you go about it? Like the team structure and the matches, the traveling part of it, if you can.
um, Basically, the structure of what we played was, there's three doubles matches at the start, and there's six singles matches followed by. Now it's a it's a best of 7 point structure. So out of three doubles, you need to win at least two.
Okay.
If you win two, you get 1 point, and then each singles is worth 1 point. So that's total 7 points there. You need to have at least six players in the team, to play that, because there's three doubles and six singles.
Right.
Now the it's always like there's 1, 2, 3 in doubles, and there's 1 to 6 in terms of their playing ability. So you can say that the first player or the first team is the best in a team as compared to the last. Um, so how it works is, when you are in the season, which is the spring semester, where it starts from January, that's where the real season starts. You start playing other colleges, and you're either traveling to that college, or that college comes to you. So you're either playing at home or away, and you play in this format. It usually takes about 3 hours, I would say,
Mhm.
3.5 to get done with one match. Um, Sometimes you also end up, this 4 or 5 colleges meeting at one place,
Wow.
and then they do it for the weekend. So maybe playing each one on Friday, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, things like that, or you're on Saturday and Sunday. Uh, but it's not an individual match. It's not there will be a draw and you'll play matches like that. It's a team sport, and it's an inter-college events every time you do it. So most of the time in the season, every weekend possibly you're on road. Either you are on road or people are coming to you. Now, if you are playing for a mid-major college or a smaller college, there is a high probability that you are on the road most of the weekends because you're not going to play a lot of matches at home, as compared to the colleges who are big on budgets of their own facilities. So they are going to play at home.
Right.
The ratio about there is like 50-50-50. But we used to have only 4 matches or 5 matches max at home, and we used to travel for the other 15, 17, something like that. So this is how traveling works. And in off season, which is the fall semester, that is more of an individual tournament. According to your level of tennis, especially, so there's an event in which there's 20 colleges or players from 20 colleges coming in. So they would make like 6 or 7 draws of different players, out of which one draw will have like the top one players from all the colleges, or a couple of number twos, and then others is of number two and three, something like that. So this is how the tournament and events in fall semester is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
basically, this is what the tournament structure looks like.
okay, and is there like people come, other people coming to watch the matches? Is it like a different vibe completely?
Yeah. So when you're playing home matches, there's a chance that depending on who you're playing or what the what the scenario is. There are players. There's crowd there. When I was at Bournemouth, I did not have a crowd more than 100 people ever. In Buffalo, there were instances, I would say 3 or 4 times, when we crossed 300, 400 people in the crowd.
What?
These are usually the times, yeah, these are usually the times when you're playing like a match that determines your ranking in the conference, or it's like the final match of the conference when you need player, uh, you need the home advantage to be taken care of, something like that. That's when you request the community to show up and do that.
Right.
And now again, we were a small college, so it was only the people in around would come and show up. But um, there are colleges where they have had attendance of 600, 700 on a regular basis.
Wow.
There's 1,000 people around come and seeing your match. It happens in the big colleges, the big matches, because you get to see a high level of tennis.
Right.
So yeah, um, people do come, and it does help a lot, but it also fires back on you if you don't know how to handle that. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So there's like a huge difference because, in the Indian tournaments, as as the tournament progresses, when you reach the semis and finals, it's just you, the opponent, and probably the chief guest, and nobody else. Maybe one or two players from the academy who comes to watch you play. And maybe like for a nationals, you have like 20 to 30 people, and here on a regular basis, like I mean, at least you have at least 100 to 200 people watching you.
Yeah, I mean, if no one else, you at least have the counterpart of the team there, right? The
Right.
women's. So there's going to be women's tennis there to support you.
Mhm.
There's going to be their coaches and a couple of other players who just playing there or practicing. If you're going at a club, then it's going to be the other players who are going to be there.
Right.
So it's at least there. But in India, I still remember the time when I won Fenesta. I would say there won't be more than 15 people in the stand,
Yeah.
including the ones who are going to play under 14 and under 16
Right.
next week. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's so different here. So I'm sure it must be an incredible experience.
yeah, it does, kind of. It's just sort of an adrenaline rush that you have. Especially, I think the best part of this thing is, um, so consider the match is tied at 3-3. You're the last person playing in. Um, the last set's going on, it's going close, a 4-all or 5-all, something like that. This is where actually the pressure kicks in,
Right.
and the home advantage might help you, because I've done that maybe 3-4 times in my life,
Mhm.
where I was the last person playing in. I've lost and I have won, but the thing is that last person being on the court, considering look at the other people's faces, you look at the teammates' face, you look at the coach, and you realize that everything's on you. Now you're the lone wolf out there. You need to do everything on your own. Figure out everything. Just
Right.
be the better person than the one who's on the other side of the net.
Right.
So that's what is actually fun, I would say.
Wow. So I can totally picture it. I mean, I feel every tennis player deserves this type of an experience at least, right? I mean, you're
Yeah,
not
you should have at least once in your life that. Yeah.
because I mean, yeah, there are a few leagues maybe once a year that too for the top players in India, but I don't think any player who's ranked between 50 to 120, 150 can experience, something like this in India.
No, I don't think um, we have a proper system of doing things for tennis. So.
Right. So, okay, with it now, let's go to the last segment
Hmm.
after. So, tell me about what happens after you're done. You graduate. What are the different options? I want to know. Can you stay back in the US? What can you do? Do you decide to take, go pro? How do you decide if you should go pro or not based on your rankings? And should you come back to India? What's the better choice? What are the options available? If you can just, briefly take us through that.
So you always have an option of going pro whenever you want to. There's no one stopping you. You can go back to your country from where you are. It can be India or anything anywhere else. You can choose to go and train, makes any country your training base. The thing is, you'll have to change your visa status if you want to stay in USA, because when you go in there, you are on student visa. So you need to change the status to tourist or sports or some other visa, whatever depends on. That's one option you can train. As far as it comes to staying in the United States, I don't think you're allowed to stay there unless you fulfill certain requirement, which would be getting a job or getting an OPT, as they say. Um, Another option which I said, so it's like you take up a job if you're not willing to continue with the sport. You find a place to work who's willing to help you, give employment and then sponsor you to stay in the country. So there is another option. Or you can not go pro, or you can not stay in United States or get a job there. You can come back to your country, do a job there, or do on the business there, whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
So these are the couple of options that you have.
Okay. So, um, I know a couple of mutual friends who've stayed back, as an assistant coach and whatnot. So that is probably another thing you can do. Mm,
Yeah.
right. So, and what about the degrees? How valuable are they? Like the American degrees that you get through, tennis scholarships and whatnot in India right now. Do you think they have a good weightage, or is it just the Harvards and Stanfords that are doing well in India?
uh, that depends on where you're trying to go and use it.
Okay.
So uh, yeah, those big words like Harvard's and Stanford's and Columbia, they do have a weightage to them. Um, but I don't know if the degrees actually matter a lot if you're doing something else other than a job
Hmm.
related to that. So where
Right.
you need to go and take a resume, you need to state in it what you've done, what you have done undergrad in. If you've done masters, then what, or you're planning to do something else. It doesn't matter if you're doing something in other field.
Hmm.
You're doing a business. It's not going to matter unless, yeah, it matters when you end up doing an arranged marriage. It increases your market value apparently. That's what I've been told. But
Right.
a degree is as valuable as nothing if you're not doing a job. So degrees are for the people who want to do a job, basically.
Okay. Mhm. And how long will it take to, transition to a like a pro? So I mean, obviously, yeah, the ranking matters, but even then, there's like you said, the whole structure is different. So when you go back to your old, I mean, not the old, but the international system of ranking, like you again need to start progressing through the qualifiers of tournaments. You start from scratch
Mhm.
again, or is there, ways where you can participate in these tournaments in between, and then so that you can, kick off from somewhere in the middle?
Okay, so first thing I'd like to clear is that everywhere in the world, especially in India, we have this misconception that if you decide to go to college, you cannot play on the tour.
Okay.
That is one of the that's a false thing that you will hear, because the college doesn't stop you from playing the futures. It's just that there is an issue if you are making more than a certain amount of money
Okay.
as your income, if that
Right.
happens. Now, the criteria is you cannot make more than $10,000 a year,
Okay.
or that is before you get into the college.
Okay.
Now, it's impossible to make $10,000 as income apart from expenses. You're not going to do it unless you're winning futures.
Of course.
Now, if you're going to be winning futures, there's a higher, or there's like 90% of chance you're not going to get into a college, because you're already above, like your top 300, your top 400.
Right.
So if at the age of 17, 18 you win futures or winning couple of futures, honestly not going to get into college and trying to go pro directly from there. So
Of
that is
course.
out of the
Right.
question. Now, for for the other side of, or for the other rest of the players, um, a college semester usually takes about 14 to 15 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So consider two semesters, 28 to 30 weeks. There's 54 weeks a year. You have 24 weeks left to do whatever you want on your basis, on your choice. So
Right.
out of 24, you taking rest for 4 or 5 6 weeks, you still have 18 weeks to participate in at least 10 tournaments if you want to. And
Very.
out of those 10 tournaments, you can play 10 futures and do it your way. So yeah, the college does give you enough time to, if you want to participate in a national tournament, go back to your country and play national tournaments to maintain national ranking, or go and play futures if you're eligible to get in. Try to make points. If you have points, then just defend those points or get better in ranking. Yeah,
Right.
you're free to do that. No one stops you from doing that.
Mhm. Very interesting. Oh, I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners would have no clue about this. I mean, me being playing professionally for so many years, I didn't know that. I thought you'd have to, take a call between either college tennis and futures. I mean, going pro. There's no in between, but this is a very interesting point. So, okay, good. And could you give us like a basic
The
average?
biggest thing that we like in India is yeah,
Yeah.
a basic what?
Sorry.
A basic what?
Yeah, could you give us a basic idea about what it can cost, to get into a decent, above average tennis university? I mean, university that has a decent tennis program going on.
Um, the call the cost differs actually from what scholarship you have and the different types of things that you have. Only thing I can kind of guarantee you would be 95. I won't put a number, but I can say around 80, 85, 90% of the people in men's are not going to get a full scholarship wherever they go.
Okay.
It's going to be a partial, and it can range anywhere from between, like 20-30% to 80%.
Okay.
Now, every college that you plan to get into, you're going to have two sorts of scholarship there. One is going to be an athletic scholarship, one is going to be an academic scholarship. So depends on how good of an SAT score you're having.
Right.
That will help you get academic money, and then the rest will come from the fund. So
Mm-hmm.
This combination makes your total scholarship money. Now there's no approximate cost, because college in USA range from, consider like 20 to $25,000 a year to 80,000, $85,000 a year. So you don't know where your tennis level would match,
Right.
what you'll end up doing. It's just about how much budget you're willing to have. Then you start looking for colleges
Right.
accordingly.
Interesting. Okay. So you still feel that, I mean, if you calculate the tennis costs and the college costs and the traveling costs in India, and you compare it to America, so any college that is like around $30,000 to $40,000, it's still a steal. So it's much more. It's a more economical option to go to America, or it basically it depends on your choice.
It does depend on your choice and how much money you have to spend for yourself on
Okay.
your career. Because consider, for example, if you have a 60% scholarship or a 50% scholarship for the first year, because there's chances that every time you go in as a newcomer, you're going to be on less money as compared to your second or a third year, because the seniors are the closest to, they're the core of the team. They've been in the team for 3 years. They're going into the last year. So the coach has, like, we're happy with what you've done. We'll give you some more money, so
Right.
that it's not, um, it doesn't expand your pocket for the next. It's not heavy on your pocket for your last year. So something like that. So it's a basic thinking that the seniors are on the least money, the newcomer is on the
Right.
least scholarship, um, is given to the junior newcomer. So um, starting from there, um, if you're planning your year properly, taking care of necessary expenses in both the semester, you can use the rest of your money from the budget for summer or couple of weeks in the winter to play the tournaments. But
Mm.
yes, everything comes down to your budget at the
Wow.
end of the day.
Right. Amazing. Okay, so what do you think of the state of tennis in India? Do you think there's things are improving, or is it improving at a really slow pace? A lot can be done.
Mm, okay, I don't want to sound too harsh, or I'm not against anyone here,
Right, of
but
course.
being a product of Indian tennis, see, I'm happy for all the players that have been doing exceptionally well on the tour. Um, Sumit played around my year. I'm happy what how much he's achieved. It's been a dream for all of us to do that. Uh, the same goes for Prajnesh, Ram Kumar, Mukund. Everyone's on the tour. Sorry if I didn't mention any names, but if you look at that, consider uh, take into example. I'll consider take for Sumit for example, Prajnesh, Ram Kumar, Mukund. Consider their route that they've taken, the years that they've spent.
Right.
You'll see in that portfolio that they've not stayed in the country. So things are improving, but we're still not at the level that we want to be. Now everyone expects to, be the best player that they can be. That is something realistic. Of course, not everyone can be a champion. Not everyone's going to win a Grand Slam or be top 20, top 50. But you need to be the best version of yourself you can be, and you want to use your potential to most you can. But the thing that comes here is we lack sponsors. We lack the facilities to do it. It's not like we can't have that. India is a rich country. We have money here. We just don't know how to spend it, maybe, or we don't have people who would want to spend it. I don't think the people who are on the top of the sport, uh, they are not educated or knowledgeable enough to spend the money. I don't feel like there's a willingness to do it. And of course, I'm not an expert. I don't have any and right to say it. It only comes down to the, you know
Popularity of
when
this
I see,
as well.
yes, and not just the sport, popularity of the player, because I understand that it's not going to be taken the right way if this reaches there. But if Somdev or if Mahesh or Leander, they're going to speak it. Of course, they've been the greats of our sport, but I feel like they could have been much better than what they have been if tennis was in better hands or tennis was in a better state in our country. So I think a lot can be done if we include them, include their experience into governing our body of
Right.
tennis. But I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Don't know the inside of the association and if we have a players council or something like that. But everyone, you said, like every player has lacked sponsors in his or her time.
Right.
Everyone is complaining about sponsors. Even um, in an interview after US Open, Sumit said that he's struggling for sponsors. Like if you're playing against Roger Federer on in the center court, you're still struggling with sponsors. I don't know what to say about the rest of the players who are going to follow him,
Right.
because realistically you need to have a certain level of support, financial support to cross that. And in sports, you're not guaranteed that you'll do something. It's not like you're investing in a team when you can kick players out, you can take players in, you can kick the coaches out, change the things like that. It's an individual sport. Something can happen overnight. You might get into an accident or you have an injury or something like that. You just pass away. Like, you don't know what's going to happen the other day. But it's one of the things that has kept us way lower in the sport is how much money are we willing to spend in the sport.
True. Right.
We don't have much, so we're not spending it. We're not having players enough on that level yet.
And also, if you notice that there are a lot of talented players between the rank of 20 to 100 who have done exceptionally well just, training in India and being able to come up to that stage. And you'll notice that those who are in the top 20, I mean, I don't want to comment too much. I mean, as far as what I know playing professionally, uh, whoever I know that they have enough funds to be able to travel abroad constantly. Obviously, they're not being able to do it now. They want funds for a coach and a physio, which you obviously need. But they have been able to take it to that level because of having enough funds to travel abroad and for tournaments and training. And those who are in the 20 to 100, they probably not. They're also really talented players. They haven't been able to take it to the next level because they don't have those extra funds with them.
I mean, there's not much to say here because, as I said, it all comes down to how much backing you have, how much finance you have. Like, if I'm willing to spend money, if my basically the first support that I'll have will be of my family. So if my family is willing to spend money,
Right.
it will be from what they're having. Then if they're having a lot or if they're giving me a part of it and there's a constant source of income that we have, I can spend it on my tennis, for example. I can keep going for years.
Right.
But if there's a financial shortage or if you're coming from a middle class or a lower middle class family, there are certain limitations that you have, and you only have a couple of years to prove it. And also in those couple of years, you only have a couple of tournaments to prove it. Because for
Okay.
my entire career, I haven't traveled for more than 6 tournaments a year. So if you're traveling for 6 tournaments a year, you're not going to get anything out of it
No, exactly.
on a futures, yeah, on a futures level, because people are traveling for 20-25 weeks and they are still not, just maybe they're performing or making points in like 5. And honestly, if I was in those top 10% of the players, I won't be at this stage.
Right.
I am in the other 50-60%, like the high percentage of players who are there. Like we are in the decent group.
Right.
So it's going to make me realize like I need to play 100 tournaments in 3 4 4 years, probably 4 to 5 years, to get to a certain level or ranking. Because I'm not one of those who will be, I go and play this tournament, okay, I'll win, or I reach finals, okay, then I can play somewhere after 3 or 4 weeks. You can't do that in future. It's not just possible anymore.
Well, thank you, Vidit. You've
Mhm.
given us a lot of information, a lot of advice, and now, please, it would be great if you could tell us a little more about what you're working on currently to help Indian athletes?
Okay, so I started a company end of last year. I run it myself. It's called Athlete. Basically, it's the short form for Athlete Recruiting Services. Um, I felt like we needed someone to guide the players who are actually willing to take up the route for college tennis, or at least give them necessary information as to make a clear decision. Because as I said, there's a lot of misconceptions in that players have and that parents have about taking the college tennis route. So my goal is to help them, guide them, make the best out of whatever they have.
Right.
I provide a service. Um, I help them with from step A to step Z, whatever's there in there. Um, but also one of the most important things is I do it because of my willingness to help the next generation of players. Because once you go through something, you don't want someone else to commit the same mistake,
Right.
or go through the same bad path again if you can make them go on a nicer path. So
Right.
that's what my thinking has been. Now, of course, there are a couple of other people also who are doing the same work.
Mm.
Not saying that I'm better than them or they're worse than me. Only thing I know is I'm completely honest with whatever I'm doing with my client or clients, and then that helps me, sleep well at night. That makes me happy because I just want to help them and I want to make them better or give them a good life in whatever they're doing.
Wonderful. So, Vidit, why don't you share with us uh, the different ways they can get in touch with you, either through your Instagram handle, your company's Instagram handle, or email ID, and whatnot?
Okay, so you can reach out to me on Instagram or on Facebook. It's under my name, Athrec Services. So ATHREC Services, or I have an email which is um, vidit.athrec@gmail.com.
Okay.
And also on my phone number, it's always open. It's just on, never turn it off. So I don't have my website is currently under making, so we're working on that.
All right.
It would have been up if the pandemic didn't hit us, but yeah, still working on that.
So great. Okay. So what I understand is you provide a completely personalized service, and any athlete who
Mhm.
wants to consider the options, who wants to go to the US, who wants to take that route, you provide them a complete service, and what you don't guarantee them a seat, right? That is, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so as per the laws, as per the bylaws of the association NCAA, basically, we or any other agencies in general or an agent in general cannot guarantee you a scholarship.
Okay.
I'm pretty much sure around the world there might be people saying out that we'll do it, but honestly, we can't guarantee you. But it's not that you can't get it.
Right.
In growing up in India, having working around people, being around people with a complete business mindset, I understand that this is something that they feel completely unsafe with or uncomfortable with. Trusting
Right.
someone with their child, trusting someone with a career, their career, and obviously their money. But yes, you never guaranteed a scholarship. It's just that you have a higher chance of getting one because we know the process in and out. We know the different people over there. We know perfectly how to handle things. We know what to do and what not to do, which will be much beneficial to than doing it by yourself.
Right. And you've been there and done that already. So you've done the whole process. So you're in a perfect position to, help someone else.
Yes. So the thing is, if I had an option of doing this when I was going, I would have probably not taken it because I don't know how it is. But I realized after going there that helps a lot because the context can help you get into a college where actually you deserve to go, or that they can help you get a chance there. So if I had would have taken a service, I might have ended up at a better place.
Mhm.
But again, something like that, no one ever reached out to me, or it wasn't prevalent back then in India.
Amazing. Thank you for being so transparent with it, and it's been an honor
Yeah,
talking
no
to you.
problem.
And we hope to have you back on our show again.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, man. It was
Cheers.
nice talking to you as well.
Take care. Stay safe.